Only a few days after the resurfaced clip of Jeremy Corbell's 2027 disinformation campaign from the government has come forward, and this quote-unquote great lie that we're about to be told about a great big UFO craft coming into Earth's orbit. A couple of days later, Ross Coulthart, who is the investigative journalist for News Nation, has come forward to talk about basically an apocalyptic event that he's heard that will take place in 2027. Which is very coincidental. And we're going to take a look at it today, take a look at what Ross Coulthart's got to say, compare it to what Jeremy Corbell has said, see if there's any differentiation, any similarities, and basically take it from there. So the first thing we're going to recap is obviously what Jeremy Corbell said. So this was on his show, right? It came out back in January, but has resurfaced recently. It was on the UFO Revolution Season 2, Episode 3. Right, and basically he talks about this great lie that government is going to tell us. Now, based off of a lot of the comments from the video that I made a couple of days ago, I'll go into a lot more depth on this, so if you want to check that out, go over and check that out. But a lot of people are of the understanding that, well, it's a very split bag. A lot of people really believe Jeremy Corbell. A lot of people say that he's kind of full of the brown stuff. So, you know, the jury's really out about this, but this is what he had to say with regards to this.
Your government now wants you to know one truth, and that truth is that UFOs are real. They've already done told you. Sometimes when you want somebody to know a truth, it's so you can set them up to believe a lie, and that's coming. I have zero doubt. That lie is coming.
What is the lie?
Specifically, you want me to say it right now, for real? Real? On camera? To be put in the show?
Yes.
Okay. Problem with that. If we tell the lie before it's told, they can adapt. That wouldn't be wise. I'll tell you privately, but I would really think about if you want to put this in your show. For real. That's a real thing I'm telling you. So will you think about it before putting it in your show?
Absolutely.
Okay. So UFOs are real, and they've been here a long time, and that's the truth. But the lie is coming. All indications, like all of them, is that that lie is going to be that there is a craft slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're going to want you to believe. It's nuanced, how they explain that, the nature of that threat. But that 100% is the lie you are going to be told. You even got a date. People have been whispering a date for a long time now. I know where that lie comes from. I know specifically what document from the 70s initiated the idea of that lie. A classified document. That is the lie you will be told. You're going to be told that there is a craft on its way to Earth. That's the lie. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I sent you 2 texts today with a year. Not from me. Nope. I'm not going to propagate that lie. Not going to be part of it. Not going to say it to the camera. Everybody knows. Just start paying attention. And they'll change the date, especially if they see this. Things will change. Because maybe I'm trustworthy. Maybe I'm worthy of your trust. Maybe I've told you the truth the whole way through it. Now you can verify it. If that's the case, then I'm fucking dangerous. You've been told the truth about UFOs for a long time now. It's been pretty orchestrated. It's been pretty clear. And it's using people that are telling the truth and want to tell the truth. Ultimately, they want you to know something. They want you to know UFOs are real. Thank God we're finally there. We're all there now. They want you to know the truth. But why they want you to know that truth now? Hope I'm wrong, but it's terrifying. Think about it. Maybe it's good to get ahead of it. Call it out now before they do it. I'll be called crazy. That's okay.
So obviously it's a very sensationalized clip, isn't it? But it works for the documentary. It keeps the suspense and the drama, and that's the whole idea of these shows, isn't it? Right? Really, it's to build suspense and drama and all the rest of it. But now we've got Ross Coulthart, who's come out. And Ross Colhart is, again, one of those polarising figures. And I didn't realise how polarising. I thought he was more trustworthy than a lot of people give him credit for. But, you know, he apparently he's got his discredit as well. But he talks about a 2027 basically great bad thing that's coming. Right? And it's pretty insane. So obviously, the Australian investigative journalist, known for his work on the UFOs and UAP discussion, has discussed claims about a potentially apocalyptic event in 2027, primarily in the context of extraterrestrial or non-human intelligence phenomena. Now, these claims stem from various interviews, podcasts, and social media discussions, but they do, and it is worth noting, lack verifiable evidence and remain speculative. So the key takeaway points are that in 2027 there are rumours and sources. So Colhart has mentioned hearing from sources, including alleged government insiders, about a significant event tied to 2027, and he has referenced catastrophic possibilities such as a magnetic pole reversal or geological changes, but emphasised that he lacks concrete evidence to substantiate these claims. For instance, in a 2023 podcast appearance, he noted that 2027 was mentioned alongside other dates like 2034, but he expressed uncertainty about their validity. Now, Colhart has suggested that the urgency around the UAP disclosure by governments may have been driven by a quote-unquote time constraint, potentially linked to an impending event. In the Need to Know podcast, he stated, quote, "I've got a pretty clear idea of what the government knows. There is a constraint of time, implying that whistleblowers and public pressure are forcing government action. However, he clarified that this may relate to disclosure timelines rather than an apocalyptic event." Now, there are speculative theories, so, you know, Coulthart has discussed theories involving future humans attempting to prevent a catastrophe, possibly linked to nuclear events or environmental collapse, and he referenced the declassified CIA document, Adam and Eve story, which discusses cyclical cataclysms, as one of the source of the ideas. However, he remains skeptical, noting that such claims could be disinformation. Obviously, there is a lot of skepticism and lack of evidence, so Coulthart himself consistently emphasizes the need for evidence and admits that the 2027 predictions are unverified as of right now. Now, it's interesting, really interesting, because obviously this is the clip that where he spoke about this, you know, great catastrophe that's going to take place. Oh, helps fire sound.
And I don't know what it is.
Okay.
There's certainly something going to happen in 2027, and I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I've also heard 2034, and I've also heard other dates, you know, much later. But depends who you talk to. Some people say it's a pole reversal. Some people say it's an asteroid hitting the planet. Some people say it's AI reaching quantum, and then all of a sudden we lose the capacity to have control of our own computer systems. I have no idea. What I am aware of is that everybody's telling me we're on borrowed time. And I cannot begin to emphasize how serious a look I get when I say to people who are confiding in me, what's the timescale on this? And they're urging me to be urgent. They're saying to me, people need the right to know this. They have a right to know this. And I'm going, well, what are we talking about? And I feel like shaking these people and saying, for God's sake, just bloody tell me. And they are all constrained by their national security oaths. They want the public to know this.
So, obviously, it's a very different kind of context and very different take and approach to this whole thing than what was made by Jeremy Corbell, for example. Jeremy Corbell's was very animated, was very tense, dramatic, Ross Coulthart, on the other hand, was very, you know, I guess not narrative driven. It was very, you know, this is what I've been told. There's a lack of evidence to it. Now, obviously, the shared narrative between the two is this 2027 timeline. So both Colhart and Corbell point to 2027 as a significant year, citing insider information. Now, Colhart's references are vaguer, mentioning catastrophic possibilities or disclosure deadlines, while Corbell specifically frames as a fabricated UFO threat. This overlap suggests that they may be drawing from similar sources or rumors within the UFO community, possibly amplified by these figures like retired CIA officer John Ramirez, who was also mentioned 2027 as a pivotal year for extraterrestrial events. Now, there is also, you know, there's a lot of key differences between the two, and just by watching the clips you're probably not surprised by that. Now, the intent. So Colhart explores 2027 as a speculative possibility tied to disclosure or catastrophe, urging caution, whereas Corbell frames it as a definitive government lie, warning of a fabricated alien threat to manipulate the public. That's one key difference. The second is evidence. Now, Colhart admits to lacking concrete proof, citing hearsay from insiders, whereas Corbell claims knowledge of a specific classified document but provides no details, which critics have argued undermines his credibility and the credibility of this huge claim. And then the tone and delivery. So Coulthart's journalistic approach contrasts with Corbell's sensationalist rhetoric, which some see as undermining the UFO disclosure movement's legitimacy. So it is two very bold claims. One of great catastrophe that could end humanity, and one of a great lie that could be used to, basically misinform humanity. But equally as great in their, strengths, I suppose you could say. It's a very, very interesting narrative. And it's a very interesting kind of, talking point for sure. Because ultimately, they could both be right. They could both be wrong. One could be right, one could be wrong. Which way round is it? Who knows? Again, there is no substantial proof to any of the claims that have been made, so we do need to err on the side of caution with things. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. While you're down there, jump to get the hell out of the like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.